I hope you're in the mood to crochet something weird and whimsical today because we are making Bud, the weed pop fidget toy. So to make this pattern, we are going to need a base color in a green, an accent color for the little top leaf accent things here, a stitch marker, a crochet hook, and either safety eyes or some black yarn or thread to embroider the eyes on. I am using Bernat blanket for these, and so then with that, the hook that works best with my tension is going to be a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. So this pattern starts just like most amigurumi patterns with a magic ring. I don't have a particularly aesthetic way of making my magic ring, but there are a ton of tutorials out there for you to find whatever works best for you. Then into the magic ring, we are gonna make 6 single crochets. And the one thing I will say for this is that for this pattern, you want to make sure you have a very, very loose tension with this magic ring because we are going to be inserting our crochet hook through the center of it to make the design at the end. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here's where you're gonna wanna stay very loose, is when we go ahead to close it, because we are going to be later inserting our crochet hook through this more than once. But you don't have to be crazy about it. You know, if it ends up not working, you can always, you know, force it through or try again. Then we close the magic ring with a slip stitch, like usual. And that is our row 1. Go ahead and add a stitch marker. Now for the next few rows, we are going to be using a half double crochet stitch in the back loop only. So you can see here, here's the front loop and back loop. We're going to be going just in here. All right. The first one after the magic ring is always the hardest to get into, but there we go. 1 half double crochet, the second half double crochet for the increase, and we are just going to do that all the way around. All right, that is row 2. Then for row 3, we are still going to be working with half double crochets in the back loop only of the previous row, and we are going to do 2 half double crochets and then an increase. All right, this is what it's looking at like the end of round 3. And you can start to see forming these little lines that are the remains of our front loop that we have not been crocheting into. All right, and row 4 is going to be more of the same. We are going to be doing 3 half double crochets and then an increase, repeated around 4 times. Right, and that is the end of round 4. All right, so then for row 5, we are going to be working a round of single crochets into the back loop. So we are finished with our half double crochets for this pattern and back to single crochets for the rest of it. Oh. And don't be like me, I crocheted in the front loop instead of the back loop. That's this one here. All right, and this is what we are looking like at the end of row 5. I know it does not look like much yet, but this is going to become all of this here. This is just the internal structure of it. Now we are going to be starting the decreases, which is what makes the pattern actually pop and then be able to go back down. So next we are going to be working this section here. So for the next row, we are also done working in the back loop only. So we are going to be working into the single crochet stitch that we left in the last row, just like normal. And we are going to be doing 3 single crochets, then a decrease. And we are going to do that 4 times. All right, and then the next row is going to be more of the same. We are going to be doing 2 single crochets and then a decrease. All right, and then just one more round of decreases. We are going to decrease around till we have 6 stitches left. Okay, so yeah, now we can really see this is the popping mechanism here. So you can kind of see what it will look like eventually. I kind of stick my hand in the center of it and just kind of let it pop. And again, that will turn into all of this. We are just getting to see the internal structure of it right now, which I think is really cool. But now we are going to move on to the rest of the body here. So for row 9, we are going to be increasing around in the front loop only. So an increase in the front loop of every stitch around. And let's see, make sure we have the right amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. I lose count way more easily when I'm filming little crochet tutorials than crocheting on my own, just because there's so much to keep track of. All right, next round, we are going around just the same. Going to be doing a single crochet and then an increase around, and repeat that 6 times. Now, in the next row, we are getting to putting the little arms and legs on. Onto row 11, this is where we're going to be putting the little arms on. So first we do 5 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we are going to do a mini bobble stitch. So a regular bobble stitch is 5 unfinished double crochets, then crochet together. So for the arms, we're going to do a slightly smaller bobble stitch where we are going to do 4 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is 4 double crochets, which leads to 5 on the hook, 5 loops on the hook. Then we pull through all 5, and that is our bobble stitch. Then we are going to do another 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then another, finish up that, 6. Then we're going to do another mini bobble stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5 loops on the hook there, like you can see, and then we pull through all 5 loops. Then we are going to finish this out with another 5 single crochets. All right, I feel like you can really start to see the little shape coming together here. Next row, round 12, we are going to start with 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. Then we are going to do a regular bobble stitch. So for the regular bobble stitch, that is going to be 5 unfinished double crochets on the hook for 6 loops total. So that was 2, 3, 4, 5. These get very bulky on the hooks very quickly. And so we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops on the hook. And then we pull through. And I just like this because I think it's cute to have the feet be a little larger than the arms. I feel like that really adds something. Then we are going to do 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. and then another bobble stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, for a total of 6 loops on the hook, and then we pull that through, and then we just finish out the round with 6 more single crochets. Had to double check that. 5 and 6. All right. Okay, so now we honestly have the basic shape of the body. You can definitely see him coming together. We just need to finish out the final decreases. And it is up to you if you would like to add eyes here. If you have thinner yarn, that this might be easier. I like to do one more round that is starting the closing so that I feel like I get a little bit of a better sense of where to put the eye. So for the next round, which is round 13, we are just going to be doing a single crochet decrease and repeat that around for a total of 6 times. All right, now here is where we are going to pause and insert the eyes, if you have them. For eyes, I am using these 16mm safety eyes with offset red pupils. And my wife has actually already gone ahead and painted some glitter onto the back of these, so they just have a little extra sparkle in them. I just ordered them in bulk off of AliExpress, but you might be able to find some on Amazon. And so then those are going to go right here between rows, what is that, 11 and 12? Let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excuse me, between rows 10 and 11 here. I love these safety eyes, but they can be a little tough to get on, which I'm sure you will know if you've ever tried to put on these types of backs. They can get very stuck. I am usually not able to push them on with my fingers. So what I do that helps save my fingers from some tendonitis issues is I go ahead and I just grab a socket out of the garage. This one's 12mm. That will fit most of anything. All right, and I'm actually going to go ahead and undo this last row. So that you guys can see better what is going on inside while I work on this. All right, so once we've decided where we're going to put them, I put mine about 2 stitches apart, like that. They might look a little close together, but I find you can kind of stretch them and increase that distance without it doing any harm to the integrity or tightness of the plushie. All right, so then once we have those situated, we look inside, okay? So you can see this is going through here like this. Here's the safety eye. And you know, I could almost get it if I tried, but again, it's probably not worth sacrificing any tendonitis. So with this, I go ahead and I put it on just like this. And you can find basically any household item. I encourage you to experiment. The only thing that you need is you just need something with a hollow opening that the post of the safety eye can press down into that is not large enough for the entire back of the safety eye to clip onto. So just like that is pretty perfect. And then I just stand up and I, especially for bigger ones, will just put my whole body weight against it. And go ahead and keep double checking to make sure you have not, rotated the pupil too far off center. There we go. And that is the sound we are looking for. Now it's on. All right. And now I'll do the other one. And there we go. These are especially good for, I find, fidget toys because these eyes are not going anywhere. They are on there for good. Right, now we are just going to grab a tiny bit of stuffing. We definitely, we only have to fill up this much space and we don't want any stuffing to escape into this top area. So we don't want to overstuff. We are now to the easiest part, which is just closing this guy up. So going back and we're redoing the last row here that I just unwound, which is going to be a single crochet and then a decrease all the way around. All right, so now we are just gonna start stuffing a tiny bit. He does not need a ton. All right, then we're just gonna finish up our last row, which is just a round of decreases to finish up. All right, and now we are gonna leave a fairly long tail to finish him up. It's just always better to have a little more than you need for sure. And then I always just snap my yarn. Who needs scissors? And look at him. He looks a little crazy right now, but he will come together super quick once we start adding the little fluff here. All right, so once we've done that, we just fasten off, remove the stitch marker, and then we're just going to stitch him closed. Just give him a little extra stuffing here to finish that out. Okay, now we are just going to take our sewing needle here and fasten off like you do for most amigurumis. You know what, maybe he could use a little more stuffing. I have to be careful because I like them firm, but I also know that I have a tendency to overstuff sometimes, but you know what? He's fine. All right. So now we're just closing like usual, which is that we put the yarn through the front loop of each row of the last stitches here. And then we pull to close like that, cinches them right up. And then we're gonna do a few things with this remaining yarn here. So first we're just gonna stick it right back up, maybe weave it around a few times just to secure it so that we're not pulling too much. This kind of helps just distribute the tension around the piece. All right. Then we are going to go right up and come out here at about where the increases start around. So we're just gonna make a few little stitches that is gonna help seal off the, oh, where'd we go? What happened, guys? There we go. All right, so then we are just gonna make a few little stitches just from one side to the other. We don't want to pull too tight. This is just so that the stuffing from the body doesn't slowly start to infiltrate the head, which will kind of make it not pop as well. So just kind of a few protective little stitches here. I always go overboard when I'm finishing things, and I'm trying not to do that as much. Right, so yep, that just helps it be a little more secure. Oh, he has a little tiny hat right now. What a cutie. All right, so then we are gonna go back down here to the bottom. And now this is optional, but you know, recommended is we're gonna give him a little bit of a booty. So in order for it to be able to hold that tension, first I'm just gonna make a little, like a little knot down here. Just kind of pull that taut. Just help it be more secure. Okay, so then we are gonna go right up through the center of the bottom and come out about, this is not an exact science, adding butts to crochet plushies, but you know, about like that, I would say. So that's gonna be what? About there, a little above the arms. Okay, so then we just go up to the top, then we make a loop, kind of hold that taut there, and we're gonna go right up the same place we did the first time, and right out the top where we did the first time. And then you can kind of see there, and then when we pull, that is what creates the little butt indent. And then I like to just go over that a few more times because it is quite a bit of tension on that thread. And this Bernat blanket does not have, you know, the strongest thread, which is why we can just snap it off instead of needing to use scissors. So this just helps it distribute the weight better since we are putting it under a bit of tension here. Okay. Sorry, I crack myself up when I do this. All right. And there, you can see he's got a little bit of a booty. And then just like we did before, we are going to make a few knots here at the bottom to secure it because, you know, if that thread loosens, it will decrease the amount of butt we are left with. So a few like that, then I'll run the yarn over here, make another tie. And then this is just kind of until you feel comfortable with it and you feel like it's pretty secure. Like that. And I don't know, one more. It doesn't need it, but. And careful, if it gets stuck, it is probably wrapped around one of these little foots over here. Okay, so now that that is all secure, we can do my next favorite little addition to this guy, which is to give him some kind of sleepy, zoned out eye looking things. So that is basically just going to be one little loop of thread. We just take it and then we wrap it over the eyes. And that is basically it. So you do want to be careful that you're doing, you know, sleepy eyes like this, because it is very easy to get some kind of pissed, angry eyes, which is also cute, but not really the vibe we're going for with this guy here. So this might take a few times, just, that's totally fine. Just try out a few different things until you like how it looks. It's not too bad. You know, there we've got some angry eyes. So this is truly just some experimentation and play. It will look very different depending on, you know, each plushie is going to be a little different where it needs to come out. And then if you want to make any changes to this, you don't quite like how it's laying, all you need to do is slip your darning needle underneath the thread and then just pull and it will come right back out for you to give it another try. I'm actually going to do this off camera because I can go a little bit quicker that way. All right, then this is what I came up with for how the eyes and the little heavy eyelids look in the end. I always want it to look exactly like my previous one, and I can just never manage to quite get the exact same thing, but that is the beauty of crochet. It's experimentation, just messes with my perfectionism. And then we're just gonna, to finish that off, run our yarn a few different places just to secure it, like that. And then this is my favorite little trick when you're getting rid of your yarn tails, is to kind of pull them out a little bit, put some tension there. And then I just kind of let the material glide along the scissors instead of cutting it. And then because you had a little tension, the remaining yarn tail just kind of slurps up back inside, so you don't have to weave that in. All right, so he is done, his little body. He's not looking exactly like a weed pop yet. But next, we are going to move to getting the actual ruffle design around the cap. So up to this point, the design has been pretty straightforward, but now we're going to do a kind of new, interesting technique to get these really fun little textured ruffles that go all the way around the head. So all we're really going to be using to do the technique is going to be a single crochet and a chain stitch. So we're going to start, like I said earlier, going right in through the middle, and then just out somewhere on the edge of the magic ring. So you can kind of see here, that's the back loop. You know what, let me go ahead and I'm gonna get some stitch markers to actually show what we're working with here around, especially for this first one. I must have thousands of stitch markers floating around the house by this point, but somehow I can never find any. So now here you can see we've marked each of the 6 magic ring stitches. So what we're going to be crocheting into are these front loop stitches that we left behind when we were crocheting in the back loop. As we get into the rest of it, you'll be able to see a little bit more clearly this line that runs all the way around. So this right here is what we're crocheting into all the way around the piece till it ends. So just going to mark after the magic ring the next stitches that we'll be going into after that, so we can see. And then that will have us on our way pretty well. If you find this challenging at this part, please by all means feel free to just mark every loop as you go around. That will make it much easier to see as we're going. So to start, we are going to make some crochet stitches, not even into these back loops yet. We are going straight in through the center of the magic ring. All right, and then we are going to come up. So we're not even touching this loop right here. We're just going in through the center, coming up there. And this is what's going to give us this fullness here, so we don't have like a little bold spot there at the beginning, which was there in a lot of my earlier pattern test models for it. All right, so then we are just going to take our accent colors yarn. I really like this one. I'm almost out of it, but anything that's just kind of like an interesting green. I mean, you guys know what a weed nugget looks like. I don't have to explain this. All right, so we're going there. We're pulling up a loop like that, and then we are securing with a chain. So then we're going to go back in right to the exact same spot we did, pull up a loop, single crochet, chain. Pulling up a loop, single crochet, chain. And we'll go ahead and leave that at 2, but for all the rest of the ones, we will be doing 3 single crochets and then a chain in every stitch as we go around, and that's going to give us this nice, roughly looking kind of bulk here. All right, so here we go. Single crochet, chain, going into the same place, single crochet, chain, single crochet, chain. All right, then we move to the next one. And we're just going to find another random spot here. So single crochet, chain, single crochet, chain, single crochet, chain. All right. Okay, so now we can kind of trace up where we're going to be ending. So I know this is a little complicated. This might take some time to get your head around, but once you do, it is incredibly like easy and repetitive. So this is going to be our entrance point to the rest of the spiral. So you can see orange will lead into blue there. So we're going to want to start here with this pink to go around the perimeter now of that magic ring. All right. So just move this little thread out of the way. We don't need that right now. And into each of these, it is going to be a little tight. You know, this is why I said to crochet very, very lightly with your, or very loosely, I should say, with your magic ring. But if it takes some time, just take your time. It will loosen up as you work into it. All right, and then that's our third single crochet and chain. Then once we're finished with them, we can go ahead and take out that little crochet hook, or that little stitch marker. All right. And we are just in every stitch that we're going into, it is going to be a single crochet chain 3 times. And you can kind of see here, look, we've got 1, 2, 3, that's how we know. I'm sorry if this gets out of frame at all. My natural crochet posture is holding these things very close to my chest while I work on stuff like this. That is kind of these more intricate things, but I am trying to keep my hands in frame for you guys. So you can see it starts to go definitely pretty fast once we get going. I will say this is a bit of a yarn eater, just because we're adding a lot of depth and dimension into all of these ruffles. All right, and you can kind of see here, you can see that we're just starting to fill up this area and see where we're going. And I will say this is also very forgiving. So if you're like, oh, wow, did I make 2 crochets or 3, or maybe I did 4, you don't have to unravel to double check. You can just keep going. It definitely hides a lot of faults here. And it definitely does get tricky to see where you are crocheting into next, which is why, especially at the beginning where it's extra tight at the top, it can be very helpful to go ahead and mark all of those loops. But now you can see we are finished with the loops going into the magic ring around the top. Here, I'll just go ahead and take out all of these stitch markers. All right, and then here we have marked, which is also very helpful, just our entrance into the rest of the spiral here. So we're just going in there, and take your time. If you're having a hard time finding the loop, you know, you can go in without this and then kind of go in, loosen them all up, just get your head around where you're going in there first. All right, and then I am gonna finish the rest of this going around off camera. And here he is, all finished, your perfect little poppity weed buddy fidget toy. 2 last little tips here is if you are having trouble with this area here looking kind of sparse, go ahead and you can sort through and these little loop-de-loops, kind of like, you know, if you're fixing the curl pattern in your hair. So, you know, if they get uncurled, they can get kind of wonky like this, but all you have to do is just kind of follow the way that the ruffles would naturally curl, like that, and it will curl right back up for you. I think that that's actually one of my favorite little fidgety parts of this, is kind of messing up and then recurling all of the little ruffles here. And if you are having trouble with it not staying down or not popping as well as you like, all fidget toys kind of have to be shaped to the pop, you know, so I would pull out the edges here and just kind of teach the yarn, for lack of a better word, how you want it to pop. And then it starts doing that naturally once you've kind of helped the exact ways that the yarn is going work how you would like it to. So I hope you guys enjoyed making this just as much as I do. You guys are more than welcome to sell the little bead pops that you make from this pattern. And if you post any pictures online, be sure to tag me at Cottage Queer Crochet so I can take a look. I love seeing what you guys make. Okay, bye for now.